It is time for Tonnika. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Victoria's Cantina, where today we're having a look at the Hasbro, HasLab, Star Wars, the Vintage Collection, Senni Tonika, and Bria Tonika 3 3/4 inch action figures that were included as part of the HasLab Mos Eisely Cantina. All right, you guys, the day has come. If you would have asked me when I started this YouTube channel back in April of 2013, if there would ever be a time I would be reviewing official Hasbro Star Wars Tonika Sisters action figures on this channel, I would have thought probably not. I would have thought, hey, that's a long shot. I probably wouldn't have believed it, but here we are, 12 years later, and we actually have official Hasbro Star Wars, the Vintage Collection, Tonnika Sisters action figures in our collection. I am so excited. Recently, I reviewed the HasLab Mos Eisely Cantina. You may have seen that video. Or the one in which Senni Tonika herself, actress Angela Staines, signed my very own copy of my carded Senni Tonika action figure. This really has been for the long haul, you guys. I first found Angela online back in 2017. She had never done any kind of Star Wars press or interviews. And I kind of coaxed her out a little bit and got her onto the Cantina Chatter podcast and talked about what was going on with the situation regarding her action figure. So that's when the conversation really began. So it was that year that I began pestering Hasbro about the Tonika sisters. And then when I met Angela in person in 2018, she said, hey, Victoria, I think I'm ready for this to happen. What can we do to finally get this off the ground? So I said, well, let's keep talking to Hasbro. Let me keep seeing what I can find out. I'll let them know you're interested. And maybe they can let Lucasfilm know you're interested. That conversation went on over and over. I kept pestering Hasbro for many years. And then in 2021, in association and collaboration with many great folks in the TVC collecting community, I started the Time for Tonika petition on change.org in order to drum up support for Tonika Sisters action figures. In order to support the petition, I brought Angela back, this time on Vintage Collection podcast, to share more about what had really gone on behind the scenes.
They lost our release forms. Apparently something happened to our release forms and they needed me to sign off. Mm-hmm. But I do remember signing it. I definitely signed it. I remember signing it. I remember her signing it. We both signed it together. So definitely it's not that I tried not to sign it, because I definitely signed it. But I don't know where it went.
Okay. So they may have just lost it over the course of 30 years at that point.
I suppose so, yeah.
During that time, certain YouTubers took it upon themselves to use the content of my interviews without even crediting my work, mind you, to create this narrative around why the Tonika sisters would never be made, completely taking my interviews out of context and using the bits that they pick and chose to reinforce their own narratives, which led to me creating the video separating fact from fiction, the truth about the Tonika sisters. Of course, Hasbro and Lucasfilm took notice, and a case was made seemingly behind the scenes for them to finally come to fruition. Angela came back into the fold. She got on board with Hasbro and Lucasfilm last year, and then the HasLab Mos Eisely Cantina was revealed as the next crowdfund project for HasLab. The Tonikas were to be included as part of the base offerings with the Cantina. Of course, it funded. Fast forward a year later, and here they are. Here they are right here, these beautiful Tonika sisters that I am so excited to finally have in the collection, and finally happy to be reviewing them here on this channel that has been reviewing these kinds of things for 12 years. Here they are. Finally, it's time for Tonnika. Without further ado, let's talk about the card backs. So I really like what Hasbro did. These are two of the more iconic shots of the Tonika sisters from publicity stills and images that were taken during the filming of the Star Wars Cantina scene back at Elstree Studios in London in 1976. Now, there is a little bit of Photoshop going on with Senni Tonika, because this image actually comes from this other image, and you can see that there's a gentleman blocking part of her torso. And then when you look at the card back, he's not there anymore. So there was a little bit of Photoshop going on to remove the gentleman. I know there are other images that they could have used as well, but both card back images were actually taken from the very same photo, so I can see why they may have wanted to go for consistency. Bria Tonika right there. I think there's a little bit of photoshopping going on too, just to kind of give her a little bit more space between her and Senni Tonika. Again, going back to that photo, you can see that, you know, there should be a little bit more in the background, and there's not. There shouldn't be so much space between the two characters, but it's okay, because this is this is a great way to present both of these on cards. As far as the name pill and background colors, I do dig the blue, the dark blue on Senni, and then the yellow on Bria. I'm not sure what other colors may have worked better, but I mean, I'm very happy with this. You can see both of these cards are unpunched because they do come packed with the HasLab Cantina. And of course you get the Star Wars classic logo with that double racetrack going all the way around. That beautiful Hildebrandt logo in the upper right corner. The iconic Kenner logo. And again, just wow, it pinched me. They're finally here. At the back, you can see that background color carries over on the two figures. And you have an image of the actual card back with the figures standing in front of their respective card backs. And man, again, it's just really nice to finally have these in the collection. Senni is Has008 and Bria is Has009, which is the numerical designation style they do for HasLab included figures. It really is quite something to be holding Tonika sisters action figures in my hand. And I mean, wow, this is just really cool. Both of them have similar bio, but somewhat different. Senni says, with matching jumpsuits, metallic lipstick, and dark braids piled high on their heads, the Tonika sisters stood out from the crowd in the cantina and worked odd jobs for anyone who would hire them. Just gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. Man, look at that. I cannot wait to crack her open and see what she's like. Wow, super, super cool. Bria looking really, really sharp here as well. Just dang, really, really nice. At the back, her says, smart and resourceful, Bria and Senni were loyal only to each other and could communicate with just a glance. They also shared the same dream to get as far away from Tatooine as possible. So yes, very, very, very nice. All right, you guys, let's do it. Let's go ahead and crack both of these open, and we'll do a full detailed review on both of the Tonika sisters action figures. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and start off with Senni Tonika. I'm just going to go in numerical order here. I mean, can you say perfection? I mean, how often does Hasbro absolutely 100% nail it out of the park? They're doing it more often now than they've ever done it before, but I mean, this is just like aesthetically, I can't imagine it being better than what I see here. She's truly beautifully sculpted. And I do wonder that if this did not come as part of this HasLab, if it was a mass released figure, if it would have quite looked this good. I mean, maybe, but maybe not. Either way, I don't think we would have gotten these figures without the HasLab campaign. But just proportionally a very nice figure. I mean, gosh, she looks too good from every angle. I mean, super, super great. Beautiful. All right, just digging into this head sculpt here. I mean, phenomenal. Phenomenal likeness to Angela Staines as she appeared in the original Star Wars film. I mean, it's just a beautiful, beautiful likeness. When I first saw the prototype at Star Wars San Diego Comic-Con last year, I was floored. And it looks like it translated very well to the final product here. The hairdo, exquisite. I mean, just look at that braided detail on there. The nice jet black hair. The beehive hairstyle. I mean, man, she's gorgeous. She's a beautiful figure. Proportionately, again, she looks very, very nice. I really think that the silhouette was captured very well. Angela Staines, of course, is very tall, and this looks like a tall woman. You can definitely see that the makeup on her face is nicely applied. One of the things I love about these two Tonika sisters in the movie is that they had some really nicely done makeup. Senni had green eyeshadow and green lipstick, whereas Brie had blue eyeshadow and blue lipstick, which matched their outfits, and Hasbro translated that really well to the final product here. I mean, she just looks beautiful. Look at that. What a beautiful figure. The costume looks great. Coloration on the whole thing looks nice. Of course, they wore these jumpsuits. Angela tells me about wearing these jumpsuits and getting a lot of attention from gentlemen that were present in the cantina filming. But yeah, I mean, just tremendously very nice. I do love the contrast of the more olive green here, or avocado green, I guess, with the more jade green here, the more vibrant green you have on the sleeves and on the collar and on the shorts. The belt is nice. It's got some painted silver details on there. She's got a little detail there on her thigh. There's also a little bracelet that she's wearing. I need to ask Angela what that was. Was it a watch? Was it a bracelet? I'm not sure. But she does have a little detail right there, which is nicely captured. And then the gloss black boots as well. Very nice, very nice. As far as articulation is concerned, Senni has it seems like there is maybe a barbell in the head. You don't get a lot of movement because of the hairstyle, but you can move it side to side. Feels weird to be reviewing an action figure. How long has it been? But up or down, not really. It can do it. It's not going to stay because of the hair. At the shoulder, she's got ball jointed shoulders. So there you go. All the movement there that you could possibly have. One little thing I will say is that her arms don't go all the way down. I mean, I think they go down enough, but could they go down a little bit more? Sure. As far as the here at the elbows, same thing. You got those insert molded joints. It looks like she can go a little past 90 degrees, which is nice. She's got a swivel here at both of the wrists. Here at the torso, she does have a nice ball joint. Actually, this does get quite a good little bit of movement there. Side to side, twist. That's really nicely done. Here at the hips, you do get those nice newer style barbell hips, which function really well here. Legs are going to go up all the way. As you saw, she doesn't do a complete split, but close enough. It's not like we were seeing them doing that in the movie. You do get cuts here at both of the upper thighs, here at the knees, insert molded joints. Do they go 90 degrees? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. And then here at both of the ankles, you are going to get rocker ankles. So they do point down all the way. They go up a good distance, and then you can rotate them side to side. So really nicely articulated. I don't think they could have added much more to this figure. You do get the interchangeable hand. So this one is gripped to grab onto the cup that I'll show you in just a moment. And you can see she does have that watch or that bracelet on her wrist, which is really nice because the other figure does not have that detail. To do that, you're just going to pull that out. Comes out really, really easily. Grab the other hand and just swap it in place like so. And there you go. This is the bar glass that you get. It is basically a clear glass with what looks to be a purple liquid. It's a neat glass. I assume that it is screen accurate, but these are a little hard to keep standing because, as you can see, the bottom is very narrow, whereas the top is more like a traditional cup. So to stand it on a surface like this, not too bad, but if you move the surface even slightly or touch it slightly, it's going to fall over. It's nice that it has some colored liquid in there because it pops a little bit more on your cantina bar. For the blasters, you get these two included. So there's a longer pistol and then there's a shorter one. They both sort of have that Naboo sort of aesthetic that you see with the Naboo security officers and soldiers and such. But then they're also, especially this one right here, this longer one's a little more like Jango Fett's kind of blaster. I do appreciate that they have, a little bit of paint on them. They're silver, and then there's also like a gloss brown for the hilts. So obviously they didn't have blasters in the film, but it is nice to see that they included these because they are a little bit kind of retro sci-fi sort of looking, as the costumes are on these two figures. She interacts well with her accessories. The grip on the glass, it's a little bit light. Could be a little tighter, but it works. And then she interacts with both of the pistols really nicely. So all in all, you guys, I mean, this is a 10 out of 10 figure right here. All right, you guys, here is Bria Tonika, and you can see that, like with Senni, I mean, she's exquisite. She's absolutely gorgeous. I think that aesthetically, she does everything she needs to do. These aren't the most fanciest designs in Star Wars. They're pretty simplistic, and Hasbro knocked it out of the park. The actress Christine Hewitt was shorter than Angela Staines, and you definitely see that with this figure. She's a little bit smaller of stature, but truly equally as good in terms of what the overall figure brings in terms of accuracy from the film. Just all in all, a really great looking translation to action figure form. Putting them together, you can really see that height difference between the two figures. And I really appreciate that Hasbro did that. I mean, with this being a HasLab, it had to be 100%, right? And again, I do wonder if it wasn't a HasLab, if we would have seen quite this level of quality for both figures. I will note again, I said it earlier, and this is a very minor nitpick. If any nitpick I had with this, with these two figures, I do kind of wish that their arms could be held a little more closely to their bodies. But at the same time, that may have involved taking away from the overall aesthetic, maybe cutting a little more deeply into the torso and into the shoulder areas. And I mean, of course, you got to balance articulation with aesthetic, and I think they did a really good job here. So I really wouldn't want to hurt that if having that ability meant harming the aesthetic in any way. Now, as far as parts that are different and shared between the two figures, the hairstyles are actually not shared. I think those are separately sculpted pieces that are glued onto the heads. But you can see that Senni's hair sculpt is more narrow and pointy than Bria's hair sculpt rather. Hers is a little more flat on top. So they are different. The heads, of course, are different. You can definitely see that here. And then the torsos are different as well. Senni has a longer torso. Senni also has longer upper legs than Bria does. The lower legs appear to be the same. The arms appear to be the same. But other than that, you know, they are fairly different. The lower torsos right here, the shorts, those appear to be the same as well. So again, kudos to Hasbro for really divvying it up between the two so that they're not exactly the same. They did what they needed to do to separate these two characters. Now, looking again at Bria, I really love the blue. Bria has her jumpsuit, which is really like a pretty deep blue color. And then it contrasts really nicely with this lighter sky blue sort of accenting that's going on here on her wrists, on her shorts, on her collar. Some black bits there on the collar and on the sleeves as well, there on the cuffs of the sleeves. And then you get that same belt detail that you saw on Senni. You get that same leg detail that you saw on Senni. The nice gloss boots. And I mentioned earlier that Bria does not have the bracelet that Senni has. So, you know, she looks really, really great. Articulation, it's going to be exactly the same, but we'll test it out just to see if it functions any differently. Pretty similar there at the heads. Shoulders the same. Both of the elbows are going to be the same sort of joint. So you're going to get that, more than 90. Rotations here at the wrists. A nice joint here at the torso. I feel like this one works pretty close to, as well as Senni. Maybe Senni's moves a little more because it's longer, but it functions quite well. You got those barbell hips there at the hips. Swivel here at both of the upper thighs. You get your insert molded knees and then your rocker ankle pivot right there. So same overall and quite great. Bria also comes with the alternate hand. It is different. It's not the same sculpt. I mentioned earlier, again, you don't have the bracelet with Bria, so that's going to come off and this is going to plug in its place. So functions the same as on the other figure, but again, you're not going to have the bracelet that we had on the other figure. Trying to get this to go in. Almost. This is a little harder to get in there. There we go. Nice. Bria comes with this longer glass. So if you bought the Cantina, you get a bunch of these. You also get the one that comes with Senni, but without the purple liquid, which is a small gripe I do have about the Cantina glasses. There's so many glasses, but it would have been nice if some of them would have had more colorful colored liquid in them. I think would have really brought it to life a little bit more, even if it's not film accurate. It would have looked really nice. And then you get the same two blasters that we had with Senni. There doesn't appear to be anything different about these blasters. And like Senni, she interacts really well with her accessories. She actually holds this glass a little bit better than Senni does. I think it's because the glass is a little bit bigger than the one Senni comes with, but she interacts with the weapons just fine. Look how sassy she looks. And again, I just got to mention the makeup, the blue eyeshadow and the blue metallic lipstick. Man, spectacular. I love that Hasbro incorporated those details into these figures. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. These are the Hasbro Star Wars, the Vintage Collection, Tonika sisters, Senni Tonika and Bria Tonika from the HasLab Star Wars Mos Eisely Cantina. Overall, you guys, like I said, it is nothing short of a miracle that these figures finally exist in our collections. It feels a little weird to be reviewing them on the channel after all this time. And after a long fought battle trying to get these made. So these are both awesome figures. I'm very happy to have them. They look spectacular. The execution on them is exactly what it needed to be. They are as close to a 10 out of 10 as you could get with TVC. And that's a great thing, especially when we're talking about HasLab. Those figures really need to be perfect. These ones are basically perfect. Likenesses are stellar. Senni looks like Angela Staines. Bria looks like Christine Hewitt. They're very nicely painted. The makeup on both of them looks fantastic. The articulation functions very well. They interact well with their accessories. You guys, this is peak TVC. I mean, I can't imagine like what gets better than the Mos Eisely Cantina with the Tonika sisters included. Can you? I mean, maybe, but for me, this is it. Like, this is the peak of TVC. Like, there's nothing they can do that's going to make me happier than the Mos Eisely Cantina with these two particular characters included. I'm very happy with them. Angela is very happy to have her action figure finally made and in her possession. So thank you, Hasbro. Thank you, Lucasfilm, for finally signing off on these. And you guys, it's time for Tonika. We have them. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I am planning on doing reviews for the other figures included with the Mos Eisely Cantina, so stay tuned for those. Be sure you're tuning in for Cantina Social Hour weekly on the Victoria's Cantina YouTube channel, and following me, of course, on Instagram. I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to go get these two girls worked into the cantina and set up forevermore in my collection. Be well, be safe, no matter where you're tuning in from out in the galaxy. Thank you for watching Victoria's Cantina. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.